If you're looking for pound the best home health and beauty fragrance products, you need to go to ashkickin.com.
Hi, I'm Angie and you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.
Okay, let's go ahead and talk about this Tank beef. Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So this image you guys are looking at, this poster, this fight poster that you guys are looking at right here, this is the fight poster that HBO just released to promote Gennady Golovkin's next fight. Now, the first thing you guys will notice is on this poster, nowhere does it have a picture of Gennady Golovkin's opponent, Vanes Martirosyan. In fact, if you look at this poster, it looks as if they had a hard time even fitting Vanes Martirosyan's name on a poster. Now, I don't know who put this poster together for HBO, but I'm telling you right now, when you see a poster like this, all this does is confirms that even HBO is not taking Gennady Golovkin's opponent serious. They don't even feel there's a need to promote him on the poster. It also gives you an idea of what HBO thinks of Gennady Golovkin, as opposed to, of course, of Vanes Martirosyan. It tells you that HBO, they don't care if Gennady Golovkin has a name opponent or not, because they want to sell you Golovkin. They want to sell you Triple G, as this poster reads. They don't really care who the opponent is. And this is how great it is when you have your Hope Insurance. Because I can guarantee you, a fighter on the coincidental list, like an Andre Ward, there is no way he could do something like this on HBO. In fact, I remember when Andre Ward was making his return bout, and keep in mind, Andre Ward was off for 2 or 3 years? His first fight back, they were criticizing his opponent because not too many people knew who he was, right? So because of the backlash on his selection of opponents, Andre Ward, he decided to upgrade, and he ended up deciding to return against the undefeated Sullivan Barrera, the Cuban undefeated Sullivan Barrera. And now that I think about it, it makes me think of the stark contrast when it comes to Andre Ward as opposed to Gennady Golovkin. Because now that I think about it, not only was Barrera a Cuban undefeated fighter, but he was the #1 contender, right? I say this because Gennady Golovkin, he was supposed to be facing his #1 contender, Sergey Derenyevchenko. But because that was too much of a risk, Gennady Golovkin decided to fight a fighter who has never fought at middleweight, hasn't fought in 2 years, and is coming off of a loss, and that's Vanes Martirosyan. So when you think about the fact that Andre Ward was off 2 years and he decided to fight his version of Sergey Derenyevchenko, Golovkin did not do the same thing. So going back to this billboard, like I said, there's no doubt about it, the special treatment is more than obvious. Like I said before, HBO, they don't care who the opponent is. They want to sell the fans Triple G because they feel deep down, as long as Golovkin has a guaranteed win, that's all that matters to them. But I think putting a poster up like this, it creates an adverse effect for HBO. Because, I mean, if you really think about it, when is the last time you seen an Al Heyman Showtime card where they only had one fighter's picture on the fight poster? When is the last time you've seen that on Showtime? When you look at all the fights they've had on their network, even the undercard fights, you don't see that. Why? because it's always competitive matchups. This is not a good look for HBO, guys, and it just looks like that ship continues to sink. That HBO ship, it continues to sink. They didn't have too many fights scheduled this year, HBO. The only big fight they had was Canelo versus Gennady Golovkin. And now that goes from Golovkin versus Vanes Martirosyan. And then it gets even worse for Gennady Golovkin and HBO, because now the IBF is threatening to strip Gennady Golovkin if he doesn't fight his number one contender Sergey Derenyevchenko by August 3rd, which completely ruins the plans of them facing Canelo in September. A Canelo who's actually suspended right now. So now, the question is, will Gennady Golovkin, will he vacate his belt just so he can secure a payday against Canelo Alvarez? But see, the thing is, Gennady Golovkin, he's been preaching to the public for the last year or so, last couple years, that he wants to unify all of the belts. That was his main goal, according to Gennady Golovkin and Team Golovkin. So if Golovkin wants to keep all of his belts, once again, that's more bad news for HBO, because that means they may not get Golovkin versus Canelo at all this year, which is once again the only big fight they had for the year. So let's see what happens.